What is going on, everybody? We are back for episode 3 of Bound for Impact. It is your friendly neighborhood dad hat wearing wrestling fan, Dad Hat here, along by my side, the wise man to your tribal chief here at World Championship Wreckage. Rishi Mars, you know him, you love him. Go watch all his TikToks. He's on the Creative Fund now, so go pay to watch him. I mean, look at that handsome face. Why don't you not want to watch that?
This face has gotten me in trouble. My gosh. Mostly because now it's with my videos, I do a certain like this, right? And
I need you to go get major dental work so you can do the DDP with every video.
So that it is like this. The lore of that, there's two things. The head tilt is from the Dash and Cody Rhodes Titantron.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is the reason why I smile like that. One, it's because I want to make a thumbnail, being too lazy to make a separate one. The other one is it's Christian trying to be positive like DDP.
Yeah.
And those are the two inspirations behind that. So
send me just a picture and I can make you a blank thumbnail. And then you can just probably edit it right over it. That's easy.
Yeah, this is fine. There's actually a commenter that took a photo of a zoomed in face of mine, and now you can post photos on TikTok.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Somebody started doing that. I was like, oh, that's really funny.
That's funny. Well, it's Richie's topic. He chose violence last time. So today we're going to be talking
I would say that's a bit of a stretch. I wouldn't say it was violence.
In my opinion, it's violence. I have a very love-hate relationship with this individual, and in terms of his time in TNA, and I was just oh my God, he's so freaking annoying, to being oh, okay, I'm starting to like him, and then I'm oh God, he's freaking annoying again. It was very back and forth with him. And it's mainly because a lot of his storylines and a lot of his push was start, stop. So
yeah, and I think that's kind of why I chose this topic, because it's not immune to just one company, the start, stop, push. We've always seen it it's you've seen it, oh, they're going with this guy, now we're cooling him off a little bit. Oh, we're going with this guy, we're cooling him off a bit. And I feel with Monty Brown, the alpha male, he was the embodiment of not because TNA back then, they didn't have a developmental system.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the first one. It's okay, he hasn't really made his name on the independents, but he's getting organically over because he's totally different from what TNA is presenting at the time.
Yeah.
And he really had a star quality about him that a lot of people wanted to put him in a position where they wanted him as the not the face of the company, but one of the top guys of the company, but
one of the pillars, if we can steal a term.
Yeah, I mean, a pillar is one, but also just kind of it's if you want TNA to go to a next level, you would like to put him on the front line, no pun intended. But
yeah.
I think Monty Brown has had a very interesting career, because it's he came and went, he made his impact, no pun intended again, but then he went elsewhere, which we'll probably get into, and then unfortunate circumstances kind of halted his career. So I'm happy to talk about Mr. Monty Brown.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure you're going to hear us talk about it a lot. I'm going to attempt to do it. Let me clear my vocal cords. The Pounce! Yeah, that's horrible. I'm sorry if I just deafened you. But,
Period.
It's better like this.
The Pounce! What? Pounce! Huh? Pounce!
Yeah. So, much better that way.
Again, it's one of those characters that during the time of 2004, 2005, that kind of era, where it's professional wrestling was limited in characters. I think it's safe to say they were trying to go for a more realistic approach. We're still in the midst of the ruthless aggression era. You have people using their real names like John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista. Everybody is just kind of a transitional version of themselves. There was no real characters, and especially in Impact too, where they focused more on the wrestling side of things than the character portion. And this time you had kind of a guy who was leaning more into the character and his physical charisma and his verbal charisma, rather than just like being on like being connected to his in-ring ability. Granted, like as we said, the Pounce was very much
The
was connected with him. So it was easy for people to get attached, you know, and I think that's what wrestling boils down to. It's like you could be the greatest wrestler in the world, but if you don't have that extra thing that somebody or people will connect to, you're not going to reach a wider audience.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was definitely like he came on screen and you're drawn to him.
Mhm.
And that's half the battle right there in pro wrestling. If you can draw your attention just by being on screen, okay, I'm at least interested in you for a second. Now pull me in. And he's got that. Like he makes you want to watch him. Because he is out there and over the top. But it can also be serious at the same time. And hey, I mean, to me, the Pounce, it is, I mean, everybody, now does the spear, but the Pounce, that was just different.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, that being more of like a shoulder check.
Yeah, which made sense because I believe he was an NFL linebacker.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it just looked cool too because it's like you had like the crisscross of the ropes where he would like spring somebody off the ropes. He hit the opposite side of the ropes, and just check them.
And send him flying too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I think like the most popular ones are like Sabu. I think is a popular one. I think and we'll talk more about it because I think Monty Brown was in the first Monsters Ball too, and I would
mhm.
love to talk about the Monsters Ball and just
Mhm.
the Inception idea where it wasn't always just like a hardcore match like variation. There were extra steps involved which were like tremendously goofy, but like it worked within
Oh
like
yeah.
the TNA setting.
And it always has like Abyss always had to be in it.
I
Like,
think he was like they had something like 54, and I think he was like in like 30 like 38 or
oh
40 of them or something
yeah.
like that. Like the stat is ridiculous.
Where I'm watching now, it's always got Rhino in it.
Well, Rhino kind of made Monsters Ball. I don't want to say famous, but it's like he won Monsters Ball, then he won the Gauntlet to win an NWA championship match
Yeah.
against Jeff Jarrett. So he
Yeah.
won like 3 matches on one night, and then dropped it the next show to
Oh
Jarrett.
yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, back to Monty Brown.
Yeah, so Monty Brown, like he initially started in TNA. He wasn't the alpha male persona yet. Was there for a cup of coffee, left, and then when he came back as the alpha male persona, that's when you get him slowly starting to get over in around 2004.
Yeah. Like when he came back, I was like, where have you been? Like, because it's been like, I mean, I was binging these like pretty regularly, but I mean, I still understood like when I was watching it, like, okay, so I was like, it's been like a year.
Mhm.
What happened?
Just some more fine tuning. I believe he was on the Independents for about a year at that point, just kind of like getting more more development. And as a result, you have this alpha male characteristic where it's just kind of like it's so dramatically different from what TNA was presenting. You're like, oh, okay. Now it's like, let's see what this guy does. And
Yeah.
they fed him a lot of I don't want to say squash matches, enhancement matches to give him more familiar with the TNA audience. And I believe he actually had a squash match against one Antonio Banks, who we know now as MVP.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I mean his characterization and everything. I mean, you get it in ring with his in ring work too, but he had so many promos, both in the ring. But I mean, I swear every majority of his promos are done backstage. And just, I mean, especially being more of a backstage promo, that camera can definitely get in there more, and you get like kind of with his crazy eyes and just his big facial reactions and everything. Just made him more entertaining to watch.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those conflicts. You have this guy who's getting over, and he's getting over organically, but then comes the time where you have to start putting him in programs. And I feel like with TNA, there were I'm not sure if hesitant is the right word, but it's like trying to match him up with somebody that would take him to that next level without diminishing all their other established stars. Because with Monty Brown, like you look at him, he looks like the standard WWE type of guy. And now he's like in the TNA Impact kind of universe where it's like everybody's like, I don't want to say more athletic, but everyone's more adapt to the cruiserweight style.
Mm-hmm.
And when we had the heavyweight division at the time, which was kind of centered around, Jeff Jarrett, and I'm sure we're going to get to him as well.
One
You
day.
had, yeah, a lot of days with him. We have Jeff Jarrett. During that time, you had DDP, you had Kevin Nash, you had all these different guys in this scenario, like former WCW guys. And now you have this brand new guy in Monty Brown, where it's like, well, if you want to make TNA different, like you could go one way, which is like towards like, the AJ Styles, the Christopher Daniels like camp, or you go, Monty Brown, where it's like, yes, he's green. Yes, he's still newly trying to find his footing, but he's also getting organically over with the TNA audience and the Impact Zone audience, which is good and bad. Because we've seen when companies, they kind of like have a base camp, like we've seen it with the NXT crowd.
Yeah.
When they were at Full Sail, when they're currently here at the Performance Center. And what can be popular to the audience in the crowd might not connect with the audience that's watching on television.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a big thing. Like, not saying this, like not putting this person down, but like No Way Jose, very entertaining act. I could see like if you're live, but if you're sitting on the television, it might lose its connection or translation, because it's just kind of like, it feels like, all right, there's no more depth into this character. But in like situations like TNA and NXT, you could be a little bit more hokey, you could be a little bit more cartoony. But when you get to like WWE or AEW, there are some things that work where it's like, Toni Storm, very campy, and that connects to the audience because there's nobody like her, that's currently going. Same thing with Christian Cage in AEW. He's a big character, and there's a reason why he hasn't been getting, I don't think, as much blowback as other like former WWE hires from people, because he managed to put another layer onto his already current persona without being, hey, I'm the former WWE guy, but now I'm over here.
Yeah.
Potentially with a different name. And now with Monty Brown at this time, and TNA had some goofy gimmicks, but and we're going to get to them, I'm sure. But like with the alpha male Monty Brown, it was just like, you could easily like transition that into a wrestling setting where it's not goofy. Like you could see, it's like, oh, he thinks he's from the Serengeti, all this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that. Like all the Serengeti references in the promos. Like I forgot about that.
Yeah, but it's like he comes out, he has like the fur coat, he has the I read this on Wikipedia.
And his pyro is literally just him bending down.
Yeah, like he just bends down and like the pyro just like kind of spins around, and like it's like he like goes to the camera and it looks like he's like sniffing the camera, seeing like he's trying to smell.
And he rubs his face like on the top turnbuckle.
Yeah, and it's just like people connect with that because it's like, it's so out there, it's so different. It could be hokey or cheesy, but it's like, because he's giving it 110% into the character, that's what gets people connected. You can't have like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, because I feel like if you go a little bit too meta, where it's like, oh, I know this is goofy, I know this is cheesy, I think that's when you lose some of the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was like so committed into this alpha male character, like to the T, that I think that's why people want him to succeed at a higher level. And that's why I think he was in the position he was in TNA for a long time, of just like being like that exciting enhancement match guy, where it's like, you just want to see him do the entrance, do the pounce, and then do his interview. It almost didn't matter.
It was kind of Goldberg-esque, kind of like it. Yeah. Entrance, pounce. The only difference is he talked and was entertaining.
Yeah, and I feel like in ring quality wise, I think he could have a longer match compared to Goldberg.
Yeah,
like you said, similar background, and like they were trying to tailor him towards that next level. But as we're probably going to get to, there are some reasons why that didn't happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's very. I don't know. I agree with what you're saying about what reads to the audience and doesn't, like on TV versus the Impact Zone. Because I mean, being that where it is, like at Universal, like yeah, you get a different crowd all the time, but you definitely see it's kind of reminds me at times with the Impact Zone, kind of like the old ECW arena where you would have like the same 3 people sitting in that front seat, like the straw hat guy and the guys around them.
Yeah, and like I remember in TNA, there was always like Jeff Hardy girl.
Yeah,
where it's just like she's like painted like Jeff Hardy, and
Yep.
this isn't like current Jeff Hardy paint. This is like tail end of WWE, early Impact, glow in the dark,
yeah,
Jeff Hardy paint. So it's just like the commitment is like what was like really there for the Impact audience, and I feel like with Monty Brown in particular, he connected in a way that I feel like a lot of other people in TNA kind of struggled to at that time,
Mhm.
where it's like you want to see like great wrestling, but also you want to find out more about the wrestlers, whether the backstory is like abstract as being from the Serengeti or like finding more dimensions, as we'll find out with different characters like AJ Styles, like Christopher Daniels, like Samoa Joe. And of course with Monty Brown, I think his first main program was probably that Monsters Ball,
Mhm.
if I'm remembering correctly. And this is like the first Monsters Ball where it's like it wasn't like a hardcore out war that we would get later down the line. It was tame in comparison. But as I teased in the beginning, the Monsters Ball originally, which was fun with me, and I think we talked about it with the Angle and Joe retrospective, was the stipulation that I think the participants are locked in a room for, I think it was like 12 or 24
Yep.
hours.
Yep.
No sunlight, no food, no water. And then when you when it's time for the match, that's when they'll be like released, because you want to have like, those feral instincts, and the best part about this match, I feel like it's like you have, I think it was Monty Brown, it was Abyss, and I think it was Raven.
Yeah.
And they were all acting like the lights were just like so bright, movie theater blindness, as I call it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's funny because like
It's me when I walk out from work every night when I'm like, the sun. Oh God, the sun.
Yeah, and it's like one of those things where it's like Raven and Abyss acted like they were afraid of the lights, and with Monty Brown, he was just like squinting his eyes and like he was puckering his lips,
Yeah.
like he just like ate a lemon. And I believe he won that match, like a Pounce through the table for Raven.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes, so it's just like it was pretty cool to see like Monty Brown in like a newer environment, a hardcore environment, and still work with these two legends of the hardcore style.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned DDP and Kevin Nash and things like that, but so like he's green, but he's getting to work with people who have been in the business. So he's gonna be able to pick up things, and people with different styles too. Like, 'cause, I mean, DDP doesn't wrestle like Kevin Nash, like, and vice versa. So I mean, he and Jeff Jarrett, we get into a feud there before they align, and it's, I mean, he's getting to work with people that know the business and know what to do. So I mean, he's gonna pick up stuff.
Mm-hmm. And with the whole feud with Jeff Jarrett, I like, a lot of people say that's like the downturn of the alpha male, and it's easy to see why. Because here's a guy who was being built, very Ryback-esque, if you want to make a
quickly he's in that main event scene.
Yeah, it's like he had like a feud, like, as we said with the Monsters Ball. I think he had like a Serengeti match with Abyss, which I think was like another variation of a hardcore match or something.
Everything's a variation of a hardcore match in those early TNA days.
Yeah, and like working with Abyss was almost like working with like Kane or JBL in WWE. Like they're like that next stopgap before you get to that main event picture.
Yeah.
And with Jeff Jarrett, he did have a little bit of a feud with Jeff Jarrett, and apparently the reason why Jeff Jarrett didn't drop the championship, and this is coming from Jeff Jarrett from his podcast, he didn't drop the championship to Monty Brown, was because Monty Brown didn't have enough heels to work with if he were to win the championship. And in my mind, I'm just kind of like, Well, that's kind of a problem when you're just building Jeff Jarrett as the only heel in the company at that point.
Yeah. I mean, he was the heel of like hear that music, and as annoying at times as that music is, I mean, you get it. I mean, it hits and they start booing.
Yeah, and it's it was a company very surrounded by Jeff Jarrett,
Yeah.
and the
It's his money. It's his dad's money. Like, why not?
yeah, and it's like apparently that's why he won the NWA championship before the Spike premiere, because Spike wanted Jeff Jarrett as champion, and I feel like I'm not sure if like that's completely true, but it's not my company. They can do what they want.
Yeah. His podcast, Jeff Jarrett's podcast, is very interesting. Like, I feel like he's just like, look, I'm gonna tell the truth. Like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat things. I'm not gonna like try to do what paints me in the best light. Here's what happened. Here's what went down.
Yeah. And again, we had, I believe, Monty Brown turned heel with Jeff Jarrett, and like during that match Jeff Jarrett had with DDP, because the agreement was that Monty Brown would get a championship match later down the line. And in theory, if it was, okay, you're not keeping your word or your promise with me getting a championship match, so I'm going to turn on you, then you get the babyface reaction again. Like, it's kind of monotonous and tedious, but it's like it could work, But the problem is, Monty Brown, right guy, right place, wrong time.
Yeah.
Because during that year in like 2005, you have Christian Cage coming in.
Yep.
And then the year after that, you have Kurt Angle coming in. I don't even think Monty stays long enough to see Kurt Angle.
No. Yeah. No, like he's not even like I'm getting close to, like, by the end of the year I'm pretty sure is when Main Event Mafia starts. And like, so Kurt's been there for a little bit now, and Monty's nowhere to be found.
Yeah, and the thing is with Monty Brown, it's like there were so many like breaks from Jarrett, and then he would be with Jarrett again because they needed another guy to be like a heavy, so to speak, to be an opposition for Christian Cage.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunately what Monty Brown became, is pretty much he became the fall guy after that, after the mystique was kind of like worn off. Because once you team him with Jarrett, like that's when I think the mystique kind of like didn't really connect with the fans anymore.
The heel of Jarrett overshadowed, even as green as he is, Monty. Like, Monty just kind of was like, all right, cool. It's like, it's pretty much being like, cool, okay, you're the heater.
Yeah, which is like, it's a fine position, and it's probably like a good position for him to be in, as like, as green as he is. But you can't, like, sometimes you just can't contain like charisma, because there's many different types of charisma that I feel like people like kind of just conflate into one, that being like the verbal charisma. But Monty Brown had a lot of physical charisma. I mean,
great. His body language. I mean, he on TV, he looks like he'd be more on like the shorter side, but it didn't read that way. Like he looks like he was super broad, and he owned his space, and he took up the ring, and as as agile and as fast as he was and everything, like he looks like a powerhouse. But yeah, I mean that bleeds through a TV.
Yeah, and I feel like the best representation of like Monty Brown's I guess his career in TNA is like the later half, is after Bound for Glory in 2005, he defeats Jeff Hardy for a #1 contenders match for the NWA championship.
Yeah.
And then immediately loses that spot to Christian Cage.
Yep. I think what would have benefited him more than being with Jeff had you aligned him with Christian. Like, I think Christian's one of those people that I think that throughout his entire career, especially like after the whole Edge and Christian thing, but like you put somebody with them, they're one, especially he tends to be more of a heel when he's by himself, but like that person's going to be under the learning tree. They're going to learn what not to do, what to do. But besides building a character, you're gonna get that residual heat from Christian, and that just kind of builds you more. It like just builds you and builds you and builds you. Like, I hate to say it, like, especially I look on the WWE side, like if we continue to go year after year after year with Dominic Mysterio, even though he's getting cheered right now. Like if we kept him as a heel and everything, he's here for 10 years, 15 years, and you put someone else with him, that all that booze from the crowd is just going to go to that new kid.
Mm-hmm.
Just by association.
Yeah, and I feel like with Christian, because they wanted to keep him a babyface, that kind of put Monty Brown in limbo, because I wouldn't be surprised if that was like Monty Brown's actual spot. If Christian wasn't going to come in, you'd go with Monty Brown and build him up again. But then, of course, you have, Sting coming in and Jeff Jarrett.
There's a lot. That's like right. His right as he was starting to peak is when everybody just, TNA, boom.
Yeah, and that's where it's like, I don't want to say it's TNA necessarily, because obviously you have like Christian Cage, biggest star that's jumping over to TNA. Yeah. Sting, even bigger star that's jumping in for TNA. So you're going to capitalize on it.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, that's going to be at the cost of, people that were trying to be built previously. Mm-hmm. Like look at all the people when WWE bought out WCW. Like you had guys who were essentially like trying to go up to that next level. Like I remember Jeff Hardy won the Intercontinental Championship. Matt Hardy was having a good run as European champion. They were being main fixtures on the show against like people like Austin and Triple H. But then you have 20 or so guys jumping over. You're going to go back down the card.
Yeah.
And that's like a very tough pill to swallow, to be in that position. And also like, that's kind of like the nature of the business sometimes, where it's like when you see like all these free agents get available. Like, I mean, we saw it with AEW, WWE, when all these free agents are available and they debut within a certain amount of weeks from each other, they all kind of blend together.
Yeah.
And as a result, like not only do people get lost in the shuffle, but the people that are debuting are going to get lost in the shuffle as well. Like a comparison, let's take Penta, who debuted, and his brother Phoenix.
Oh, yeah.
Like with Penta, presentation, awesome, perfect. And they were able to take their time building Penta, and as a result, he got more and more over with the crowd. Now with Phoenix, it's more about the timing of it all, because, Phoenix was let go of his AEW contract earlier in the year. Mm-hmm. And then after that, you start building him, but he debuts in this awkward period of time when all these things are happening. WrestleMania is happening.
He gets thrust into a match that he's not advertised for.
Yeah, and especially because it's like, that day, WWE announces they bought AAA.
Yeah.
So it's like a bunch of different things are happening. Like, yeah, he has all these great things under his belt, and people overuse it. Oh, he's buried. He's not buried. Everyone's got to stop using that word, overusing it.
I'm so sick of that word.
Because he's fine. But you're going to have guys who are going to be lost in the shuffle. And Phoenix is one of those guys where he's a part of people's stories, but there's no story centered around himself. And with Monty Brown, that's what became of him. He became a guy who was an associate to other people's stories. Like right after Christian debuted, it was about building up Christian. When Sting was debuting, it was all about Monty Brown being a part of Planet Jarrett.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's what kind of happened with him in TNA. It's just kind of like, oh, blink, you miss it. It's like all this awesome stuff, but now it's like we're getting more of these guys involved, and it's easy to point out. It's like, well, it's easy to reason. It's like, oh, well, he's still green. He still has time to cook. You know what I mean? When in actuality, it's like he was one.
But you have to let him be in the pan to cook.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, we got all these other, and at the time they only had an hour of television.
Yeah.
So it's like it's even harder for people to get on TV at that point.
I kind of miss the hour TV. Like now that like where I'm at, like it's, the longer episodes, it's like I was going through them. Boom, 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 boom. All of a sudden I'm through a year.
You're only in the beginning of like, usually around that 2010 era is when it's like they start feeling, you start feeling the lag a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like there's some episodes where like there's no match until like the first hour is done.
Oh God.
Yeah. So that I'll give you 3 guesses on what era.
I'm gonna say that's the Hogan Bischoff era.
Yes, it is.
Oh.
But with Monty Brown, it's like for such like a short period of time, like he managed to get it. It just kind of shows he got a character over. He was believable within the main event scene, all within a span of a year.
Got catchphrase over.
Yeah, catchphrase over.
The Pounce!
Also helps that he has a cover of Down with the Sickness as his entrance theme.
Seriously. When that comes on, I'm like, man, Jeff. People compare AEW to WCW all the time.
It's good old Dale Oliver, man.
But dang, I mean, it's like DDP was Smells Like Teen Spirit. It was Raven was Even Flow by Pearl Jam. I mean, but yeah, I'm just like, that is Down with the Sickness. Like 100%.
Yeah, it's like they gave him all the tools that he needed to succeed, and he used them to his advantage. But unfortunately, TNA just kind of was like, all right, you're gonna be here while we prop up the guys coming in, because it's like, and TNA's like, they should have, because you have Christian Cage, biggest WWE star there, that was coming in.
It's a business.
Yep, and then Sting coming in. Obviously, you're gonna promote Sting.
Oh, without a doubt.
So with Monty Brown, like one of the big what ifs, in TNA. I
Without a
feel
doubt. Without a doubt. Now, we do get him in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Briefly.
Yeah, Marcus Cor.
I don't even know what to say about his WWE run, because it's
so his WWE run. Like I do remember, because my friend and I, we would text back and forth when ECW was on, and we were so hyped that Monty Brown was coming in, and we were like, Marcus Cor, but it's just like an in joke between me and my buddy is like, we'll send each other his theme, just call me smooth. It was like such a like contrast to the song he was coming out before, but I think he still made it work. And like the only thing that in his debut that I didn't like was he did hit the pounce.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't hit the pounce, but he finished
The Pounce!
but he finished his opponent off with like a couple knees and like an arm bar.
Yeah.
So it was just like
damn, why don't I have a video clip of Jericho reading all the 1,001 moves? Arm bar.
But it was like it was like an interesting presentation. He was announced from the Animal Kingdom too.
Yeah.
Before they switched to Detroit, Michigan.
Yeah.
And then they were building him up, and I feel like he was perfect for the ECW branding at the time. And his trunks no longer were the red trunks; they were the gold trim.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a different presentation. I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then they just kind of, like, similar to like the Planet Jarrett thing, they kind of grouped him in with all the new guys called the New Breed. Elijah Burke, Kevin Thorne, Marcus Cor, and Matt Stryker. Where it's just kind of like, so it's like, all right, we're just kind of just throwing all these different characters together and seeing what sticks. But it's like there's no rhyme or reason why they're all together. And similar to TNA, just when things start cooking, unfortunately, he had to step aside for his sister who passed away, care for her kids, and was released from WWE. And that's very noble for a noble thing for him to do, and also really just shows like what kind of person he is, and that he's just like he's like a legit good dude, And like you saw him like a couple weeks ago, and I remember because you put in the group chat about
you
him.
You sent me that picture, and I was just like, it took me a second. I'm like, what am I looking at with Jeff Jarrett? Oh, that's Monty Brown. I was like,
yeah, like he was visiting AEW backstage. I'm just like, because I think it was like that day where I was like, we're doing Monty Brown. You're like, man. And then I was like, I'm like, spoken into existence. And I can't believe how like
people thought he was coming back on like just for like a one-nighter in AEW.
Yeah.
Like people were like even in our group chat, people were like, it's gonna be him. It's gonna be him.
Yeah, but then it was Rhino. Not too far off.
Yeah.
But with Monty
Brown
instead
of the Pounce.
Yeah, like he was. I'm surprised to see how old he is. He's 55 now.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh wow, it's like he looks great. I think he's a personal trainer, or still works as a personal trainer.
That makes sense. I mean, he still got. You can tell even with what he's wearing because it was kind of like a jacket. I mean, he's wearing. You can tell he still got the build and everything.
Yeah, and he still cut like a promo for Lance Archer because I know they're good friends, and that was his first opponent in For Bound for Glory.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's before Bound for Glory became like TNA's like WrestleMania
Yeah.
kind of version, and they just
I still think it should be Slammiversary.
I mean, not my company.
Yeah, not my money.
Not my money. They could do what they want.
Mm-hmm.
But it just kind of shows like for just like a short amount of time he was in like the business, if you really think about it, like his alpha male persona and his entire wrestling career from 2000 like 4 all the way to 2007,
Mm-hmm.
like with including WWE. It's just like he left a decently like large like impact and like people and like what kind of like what ifs could have been for the company. And I feel like WWE, they would have gone with him a little bit more because you had the ECW brand where it's like they're
he had the Vince look too.
Yeah. And I think what only hurt him was and he did this in TNA and WWE. It's just kind of funny looking at it. Like if you ever see those videos of like type in Monty Brown over the top rope battle royal. So there's one where he would like again an experience where it's like he will try to like eliminate him and somebody else, but it just looks like he's just eliminating himself.
It's like
yeah, so it's just like
Free Willy.
but it's like because if you notice, like when he had his leave, that's when CM Punk started breaking through to the main event. That's where you had John Morrison or Johnny Nitro.
The stars that they had of WWE ECW started to cook.
Yeah, and with Monty Brown, I feel like they would have gone with him, but again, it's just one of those unfortunate things that happened. I believe his last match was like an ECW like qualifying match for like the Night of Champions match where what was supposed to be Punk versus Benoit, but Monty Brown lost to Punk. The only thing that really grinds my gears, and has like nothing to do with anything. So I was like an avid like wrestling video game. Gamer, and like what I would do is like I'm like, all right, let's see what the teams are. And for whatever reason, like a permanent team, like if you start a new game, is CM Punk and Marcus Cor. Like I know like CM Punk did like the storyline of like
and what game?
To SmackDown vs. Raw 2008.
Okay.
And like and I know like Punk did the storyline where it's like he pretended to join the New Breed in order to break them up from within.
Yeah.
But I'm just kind of like I don't think Punk and Corvan even like had like a standard tag team match. So it's just kind of like it was just kind of odd to me. But again, it was again, I'm not a developer. I don't know how the like, things work. But again, that was like a small little nitpick thing. But overall, I really enjoyed Monty Brown, his energy, his excitement, and I feel like that's kind of coming back. You get the meat chants every once in a while with a lot of different participants. Like you have Wardlow, you have Powerhouse Hobbs, you have Miro, Rusev, you have.
When Monty Brown first came on, I'm like, "This Big E's dad."
Nah, but the thing is, it's just like because Monty Brown, he wasn't like really like tall. He was just like really like big.
Yeah,
like really wide.
He reminds me of Big E. I mean, the build. I mean, the build is Big E.
I'd argue like he was like if you take like Big E and you give him like the speed and agility of Braun Breaker, that's Monty Brown.
Yeah,
like you have like a perfect fusion of almost like a great athlete within the professional wrestling space.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, well, that's Monty Brown. Yeah. I agree with you. One of the biggest what ifs that could have been coming out of TNA. But hey, we will always forever have
the Pounce. What Pounce? Huh? Pounce.
I'll make that my text message notification sound.
Yeah, I mean, it'll make people pay attention.
It will. Well, that was episode 3.
Yeah.
My turn to pick now for the next one. Yeah. And like I did before, I like to give choices. So I'm going to let you pick. Pick. A faction or a storyline. And I'll add a little asterisk to it. It's a on the newer side storyline, not current going on right now, but on the newer side compared to what we've covered.
Okay. Like I feel like we're just kind of bouncing around right here.
Yeah.
So a faction or a storyline. Because like with TNA, they had a bunch of factions.
Yeah.
Like a large amount of factions.
Mm-hmm.
Too many factions. Stop having factions.
For a while, I was just like, it's faction warfare.
Oof. I'm very intrigued with both. Let's go for like my brain's saying faction, so let's go with the faction.
Okay. Next time, then we're going to talk about, in my opinion, my favorite faction in the early day. I say not super early, but the earlier part of TNA. Oh, Canada!
I knew it.
Team Canada, Team Canada, and the beautiful unicorn that is Scott D'Amore as an on-air talent.
Yeah, and the invention of one of the most now overused moves in
Hey,
professional wrestling. Back in the day, you know,
Penta is winning with that move now.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, oh wow, he actually won with a move. Petey Williams is like doing like fist pumps backstage.
He's right backstage. He's like, that was a 3 count.
Yeah, he even made an apology for like the Canadian Destroyer being a transitional move. He's like, I didn't mean it to be like this.
Yeah, it's a super kick. Like, everyone super kicks. It's like Hulk Hogan must pose, Macho Man must oh yeah, the Young Bucks must super kick, and everyone else must Canadian Destroyer.
Yep. So
I knew it was dead when John Cena did it.
Yep. So I can't wait to talk about all the members of Team Canada, the ones that people remember and the people some that the people don't remember.
A1.
Look, great steak sauce.
Yeah.
Don't remember the wrestler that well.
No. He came back. I was watching. He came back as like a couple months after they broke up, and he's wrestling Bobby Roode, and I'm just like, you're still here? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is like the only match you actually ever have wrestled. Like, you're just there.
Yeah, I just remember A1 because he was the first one. Like, if you go on the roster page, like he'd be the first one because A1.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it is.
So yeah, Team Canada next time. That's what we're waiting for.
Let's do it.
For Richie Mars, your friendly neighborhood hat wearing wrestling fan. I'm tired. I'm gonna probably go take a nap after this. But Richie, hit him with all your socials. Let them know what you got going on.
At Retold Richie Mars on all the links that you see right here, the YouTube, the Instagram, the TikTok. Do daily TikTok content every day. Usually try to hit 3 to 5 videos per day. Just what I think could happen in storylines, what's currently happening within the professional wrestling sphere. I always try to promote a very happy environment. But again, sometimes you'll get people who are very passionate about their wrestling takes, and sometimes they'll take it seriously. But again, it's just a hobby that we all like. Again, we're all just watching men and women, in tights, wrestling around in a predetermined sport. So nothing to take too seriously, but it's always fun to talk about theories and what's going on in the wrestling world today.
My favorite thing, and with most fandoms, but pro wrestling and the IWC being what it is. Husky Rhodes and I used to say this to Husky all the time, and he kind of swore by it. And people be arguing about pro wrestling and taking it too seriously on TikTok, and I'd be like, y'all are arguing over a predetermined sport on an app designed for children. Think about that.
Yeah, how it is sometimes.
You can find me Dad Hat Wrestling, all social medias. You can find World Championship Wreckage, all social medias. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna go take a nap now. Probably. I was thinking about working nights, man. I get that. Daytime. This is my nighttime right now.
Please take a nap, please.
I have quiet in the house right now, so yeah, I'm gonna go enjoy that. But so yeah, Team Canada next time, and we'll catch you then. Bye, y'all.